All right, welcome in. WSMV4 First Alert Meteorologist Darius Mack here. Thanks for joining us here on First Alert Weather Plus. We're looking at some unsettled weather out there for the day today, and that's what we've been seeing so far. So a few of those scattered downpours have been around. Not everyone has seen rain today. It's more so kind of hit or miss with those rain chances. But today, today's topic, at least, we're going to talk about a little bit, some about the pollen that is out there. So let's talk a little bit about that as we go pretty much over the next few days. Pollen levels, thankfully, look lower for us. But let's do a little take on how rain can affect those pollen levels out there. So if you've had those sniffles and sneezes, you've noticed on days where it's been kind of drier and there hasn't been much in the way of rain, it's been kind of easy to do that. But as we look for the next few days, again, we are expecting those pollen levels to stay a little bit on the lower side. Let's talk about weather in relation to pollen levels. So if you're dealing with rain and humidity, what that does is that actually weighs down the spread of pollen. So that's why it adds as a kind of a temporary relief from those pollen allergies. And as I mentioned earlier, pollen's typically higher in drier and hotter conditions. We'll see that later into this week, especially by this weekend. And as I mentioned, yeah, the moisture really weighs that down. And so that's what really kind of helps keep those pollen levels on the lower end of things. And you look at at least the pollen levels as we take a look over the next few days. Notice they're going to stay pretty low today, tomorrow, essentially through Wednesday. And then we'll start to notice those pollen levels begin to pick up for us on Thursday. But check out your wet weather tracker. We are going to be tracking rain chances later into the overnight time frame for tonight and early into your Tuesday, and then also looking at more rain chances for Tuesday as well. Wednesday, I think we'll have some decent dry windows, and then we're looking at more rain chances on Thursday as well. And a lot of this eventually wraps up for us heading on later into the week. But check out your muggy meter. As I mentioned, areas where you got high humidity, rain, we're going to be dealing with some high humidity levels pretty much essentially throughout the rest of the week. We start to notice that drop a little bit for the weekend, but it doesn't really help much when you consider those temperatures that'll really be cranking up later into the weekend as well. So let's talk a little bit about why we feel the heat, especially when there's humidity involved. So our internal body temperature naturally at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So on a typical day where you don't have humidity, a lot of that, when you sweat, it evaporates. So it's what we call evaporative cooling. But on the flip side, when you have humidity, on the other hand, that sweat gets trapped. It can't evaporate as easily. So that's why it feels a lot hotter on a day when you have humidity as opposed to a day when you don't have humidity. So that's the difference there as far as the feels like temperatures. We talk about the heat index, and that's something that we'll, of course, have to talk about a little bit later into this weekend as well with that humidity that'll still be around. Let's fast forward as we go into the coming days. So again, we are going to be looking at more rain chances on Tuesday. Looks like Tuesday afternoon, those rain chances will pick up for us. Notice we catch a dry break, and then we look at more rain chances that'll be around for your Wednesday. Looks like midday Wednesday, and then again later into your Wednesday night time frame, early into your Thursday, and then later into your Thursday. There's those rain chances that go there. But let's check out your 7-day forecast. Temperatures generally into the 80s. Let me punch up the full screen for you so you can see that there. Yeah, we're in the 80s today, 80s tomorrow. We're going to be in the high 80s on Wednesday. Notice it's about a 30% chance for scattered rain, and then more storms rumble through the mid-state on Thursday, and then highs climbing into the 90s this weekend, and then it's especially going to feel hot. Probably the hottest so far of the season is what we're expecting for the weekend ahead. Temperatures in the 70s. So plan on being out for extended amounts of times this weekend. Don't forget to apply the sunscreen. As always, you can always find our latest weather, all that and more. Of course, we're streaming on the app. It's free, but you can also get access to all the weather that you want to get access to in the palm of your hands by downloading the WSMP4 First Alert Weather app. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Darius Mack. Thanks for joining us here on First Alert Weather Plus.